Greetings, YouTube. Today I'm going to talk about the do-nothing MRA. Well, let's say the constructive do-nothing in our MRA, because of course the MRA is famous for doing all kinds of things, all of them odious. I'll be linking to something that came up on the Metafilter at the beginning of February. It's about a BuzzFeed profile of Paul Elam, founder of notorious MRA website A Voice for Men. So Elam calls AVFM the largest men's rights group of its kind anywhere, though it does few of the things human rights groups typically do. It provides no services, offers no legal aid, and litigates no cases. It does not regularly lobby lawmakers, advise candidates, produce public policy proposals, or original research. So it's just the boys' club where they can put the big "No Girls Allowed" sign outside, and then they can go inside and complain about how women want to be treated exclusively and differently than men. Yeah. Now, there's also a link here to We Hunted the Mammoth, a blog dedicated to tracking and mocking the wider MRA movement, cited in the BuzzFeed article, which provides additional links and context about Paul Elam's modus operandi and history. So I'll be linking to that as well. I recommend go checking it out. However, this is the big blue. This is Metafilter I'm linking to. And one of the reasons I love Metafilter so much is that it's a very high signal-to-noise ratio. I visit FARC every day, but that's a very high noise-to-signal ratio. There's a little bit of content on there and a whole lot of crap, as opposed to like 4chan, which is a huge amount of crap. A little bit of interesting things, but occasionally they can be funny. But on Metafilter, we have a fairly high signal ratio. These are smart people talking about smart things, and I have a lot of respect for the commenters on Metafilter. And the first one, which is by the Welk, someone that speaks interestingly and in depth a great deal, just nails us out of the park. It was like the first comment. Quote, "I was a rebel from that moment on. I'm still that 13-year-old kid on the floor that won't take the medicine," unquote. And the Welk's reference to Elam's line from the article, "You gotta love unintentional moments of clarity." And that sums up the men's rights movement. A 13-year-old determined not to change. Now, demographically, the MRA is made up of young, and I'm talking like 15 to 25-year-olds, young, white, straight, cisgender men who are atheists and who are very conservative. They do not reflect the greater culture at large. For example, they don't do anything for men of color, or gay men, or trans men. Not to mention, as I've mentioned, or as I read the opening passage, they don't do anything for the people that actually fit into the demographic that they are. But these men themselves do not reflect the reality of masculinity and what it is to be male or to be a man in the world. They don't represent me, demographically or politically, because I consider them to be nothing more than a hate group. But I did want to bring this up because I've constantly heard refrains online about how the men's rights movement is needed because feminists aren't doing anything for men. And I've talked about here in the past where feminism is covering every single base that the MRA says that it isn't. Every single thing that the MRA says that feminism isn't doing for men, feminism has been doing for men for decades. Whereas, as this profile and article will show, the MRA itself, other than whining like spoiled 13-year-olds on the floor, does nothing. Nada. This is just a group of whining children. That's all. They have so much privilege, and the idea that someone else is going to end up having the same types of treatment that they have absorbed to the point where they can't even see anymore enrages them. How dare you think that you're equal to me? These people are fish and they can't see the water they swim through. The privilege that they experience every single day. And when they're told that there are going to be people who want to be treated the same, who want to be able to walk from their home to their car without being verbally harassed, that want to be able to work out in the gym without being hit on, that want to be able to have a job at a factory, an office, and not have people policing their clothing, or making comments about their weight, or make references to their sexuality if it doesn't fit some definition that the society at large says. And these are the things that members of the MRA have experienced none of. They don't have to worry about these problems. That's the privilege. They're not afraid to walk down the street. They don't fear that person walking up is about to hit on them or make something rude comment. They don't worry about that because they're privileged. That's what privilege is. You were just completely and utterly ignorant of all the things that you don't have to worry about because you are blessed with that privilege. It's taken me decades to come to understand the level of privilege that I have as a white, straight male in Western culture. It was shocking to me when the first time I found out from my wife and my female friends what they dealt with every day. That it never occurred to me, not for a second, that women were around me were nervous just because I'm a big guy walking down the street. And it broke my fucking heart when I figured it out. And I wasn't mad at those women. I didn't blame them for it. I put the blame where it belonged, on the douche nozzles that are in the MRA, the foot soldiers of the patriarchy. That's where I put the blame. That's where the blame belongs. I don't blame the women around me that are nervous when I walk down the street. I empathize, I sympathize, I have compassion for them. And I wish I could show them that they honestly and truly have nothing to fear from me. But I can't. Because 1,000, 10,000 men before me have proven to them that I can't be trusted. That even though I am not guilty of anything in this case, I bear the burden of my brothers. I don't want it. I didn't ask for it. But I know that in my lifetime, within my privilege as a straight, white, cisgender male, that I have harmed others. That in my ignorance, I stepped on people's egos. I hurt them with words. I staunched their speech. I was a douche nozzle. And I can't ever change that, what happened in the past. But I can stop doing it. And I can talk about the fact that other men need to stop doing it. And I can talk about douche nozzle organizations like A Voice for Men. Men who've had the bullhorns in their hands for centuries, for millennia, complaining that when a woman speaks up in the corner of the room, that suddenly she's taking over the conversation, while they still have that bullhorn grabbed tight in their fist. I'm tired of these asshats. I'm tired of bearing the burden of what they've done to society. And I'm going to do what I can to make it right. And as an aside, anyone that ever uses the words social justice or social justice warriors as pejoratives, kick them out of your life. Gone. Get rid of them. They're belittling you. They're trying to control the narrative. They're trying to make the words social justice into dirty words. And they aren't. You don't need people like that in your life. And I can guarantee you, I'm not going to have them here on my channel. So if you'd like to discuss this, cool. But let's discuss it like adults. Any of the whining children of the MRA that want to come and plague my channel will be leaving. Without guilt, without hesitation. I don't need them in my life. They're not helping. They are the problem. But the rest of us that want to make the world a better place, we can have a conversation. We can do something. So, let's get started.